All right. In this next video, we're going to continue down the road of understanding your final exam. So after you memorize the good and the bad, what I'm looking for specifically when you read these sentences, which are statements and thesis statements at that, and recognizing what's wrong with them as if you were the instructor. Besides the good and the bad, I want you also to memorize the fallacies. So these statements will not only have bad things in this category, there will also be fallacies in there. Now there's 17 of them that we've been working on learning in this class, and I need you to memorize what all 17 fallacies are. For instance, the bandwagon, right? If you say, you should believe me because everyone else does, that doesn't mean I'm right. I'm telling you should believe me just because everyone else believes me, even though I might be wrong. That's a fallacy. It's a faulty argument. It makes no sense. So I want you to memorize all 17 fallacies. They're divided out into fallacies of pathos, fallacies of ethos, and fallacies of logos, which you know what that means at this point. Pathos, emotion, fallacies of emotion, getting people real angry at somebody or something, and really avoiding the heart of the issue, right? That's a fallacy of emotion. So fallacy of emotions, fallacies of logic, and fallacies of ethics. Memorize all 17 of them. I won't go over them here, but in your study guide, I list what they are. If you do not have them memorized, you can use your book or you can use Google. The definitions of these don't change from your book to the internet. It's pretty universal, the definition. Memorize what they are and be prepared to identify them when you are reading sentences. Like you can tell if someone's using emotion unfairly in order to just get people to believe them, or you can tell if someone's trying to get everyone on their side, saying a bandwagon thing like everyone else is on my side, you should be too. Memorize the fallacies and memorize the good and the bad. I have here as a list. Then after you do those things, you're going to read the statement and you're going to say, that statement is totally an ad hominem fallacy, and that statement's also way too big. Like they're going to have multiple things wrong with these sentences, and you have to recognize what's wrong with them. Then you have to revise it. You have to make it so it's no longer a fallacy and it no longer has anything bad. Now, not every sentence will have fallacy and a bad. Some sentences will just have two bads, or some sentences will just have two fallacies, or a bad and a fallacy. I'm going to shake it up. There's going to be between 2 and 4 things wrong with each of these sample thesis statements. You have to fix them. Fix them. And when you fix them, these are the points to remember. We just talked about them. Let's go over them one more time. It cannot be a fallacy. It cannot violate the rules that we just went over of making a good and bad thesis. It cannot be a should statement. Even though I included that in what we just discussed as the bad, I'm going to say it one more time. I have it as a bullet here because so many people miss this. It cannot be a should statement. No, it cannot be a should statement. It must be able to be proven true with research and facts. This is important. Do you see a path to proving this true? I once had a student argue that it is likely extraterrestrials have visited Earth. Okay, great. I'm actually kind of on board with that, right? That's kind of cool, sciencey. But there's no way to prove it true besides conspiracy theory. Like, there's no evidence for this. This is not an academic paper, because academic papers rely on research studies. It relies on expert opinions who are credible in their field. And the problem we have with extraterrestrial research is there's no real credible foundation, and so we got to throw those opinions out, and then there's no real research studies that support the theory either. So those two things combined make it so that it's a really not provable statement. So is it provable? Ask yourself that question. It cannot be easily answered. So this is another one I also put in the good and the bad sheet, and I put it as an extra bullet here because so many people do this wrong. It must be a debate. The earth revolves around the sun is not a debate. It is not a debate that climate change is changing the earth. That is happening. No one's debating that except for like 1% of really fanatical people who are not taken seriously, because it's insane to debate that at this point. So it has to be an actual debate, right? And these will be obvious. None of these statements require you have any background in the field of study to understand. You'll be able to read them and realize very quickly if this is something that is just, yeah, that is what it is. You know, yeah, the earth revolves around the sun. And so you'll be able to realize very quickly in the statements I provide in your final exam. All right, so now we get into the harder part. So we remember that claims are sub-arguments of our thesis statement. There are many arguments that prove your thesis true, and your claims need to be smaller than your thesis. They need to live within your restrictions in your thesis, just like it was a hockey rink. Like your thesis statement was written in words in the rim of the hockey rink, and you can only skate inside that. That means if I'm saying that I support year-round schooling, I'm not going to talk about traditional schooling where you have summers off. I said I was only going to talk about the benefits of year-round schooling. So you need to understand very quickly what your thesis, the actual sentence itself, is saying, what you can and cannot talk about based on what you said you were going to talk about in that sentence. You need to realize that and be quick enough, intelligent enough, logical enough to identify that. Then make claims. So this is the part of your final exam that's a bit harder. You have to actually make 2 to 3 claims for each of the thesis statements that you revise. So not only are you getting really crappy thesis statements that you're fixing, you're going to make 2 sub-arguments all on your own based on that thesis statement that you revised. Now, claims have to follow all the same rules as a thesis statement. They can't have anything bad, and it can't be a fallacy. So you have to do that all on your own.